Hello, my name is Fred Strauss, and I'm the lead portfolio manager on the International Equities SMA here at Watershed. Our investment philosophy when we invest in international equities is to select those businesses that's got a competitive advantage and that operate in industries with a very positive outlook. The businesses must have a high return on shareholders' equity with low gearing, and have a long track record of growth in their sales, in their earnings and their dividends. In certain circumstances, we may select high growth businesses that are non-dividend paying, but they must be major disruptors in the industry and major players in that industry. From a risk management point of view, we then limit our exposure to those high growth businesses, non-dividend paying businesses, to no more than 15% of the portfolio. The International Equities SMA has consistently outperformed its benchmark since inception in January 2010. And that outperformance really came about from us, first of all, selecting high quality businesses and high quality businesses only to include in that portfolio. We also heavily tilted the portfolio to those businesses with exposure to the recovery in the US economy. We had no commodity stocks in the portfolio or no businesses that's related to the commodities industry. And finally, over time, we increased our exposure to the technology sector. When we look at portfolio composition, our exposure to the finance sector are only to those companies that are very conservatively managed. Our main holdings are in Wells Fargo and Berkshire Hathaway. Wells Fargo is one of the best managed banks in the world. And the other advantage of Wells Fargo is that 98% of its assets are in the US. So you only really get exposure to the US and not to, for example, emerging markets, etc., by investing in Wells Fargo. Berkshire Hathaway is Warren Buffett's company, as we know, and Warren has built up a great portfolio of privately owned businesses that Berkshire invested in. And therefore you get great exposure to those businesses, and again they're mainly based in the US, and that way you get again exposure to the US economy. From an industrial sector point of view, our holdings are mainly in General Electric and 3M, and our technology exposure is to Microsoft, Google, Intel and to IBM. And that way we get exposure to the latest developments in artificial intelligence, in Internet of Things, particularly through General Electric, and to cloud services through Microsoft. When we have a look at disruptors, especially in the retail side of things, we've got investments in Amazon and in Costco. And Amazon, as we know, is not only a retailer, online retailer, but nowadays it's probably the largest provider of cloud-based web services in the world. And again, we get a bit of technology exposure through Amazon.